Hello everyone, I hope you're well. I'm back doing another introduction to one of my walking around London and book shopping videos because I evidently have a brand, and this video is kind of special because it was actually a day out with one of my closest best friends from school, who I'm seeing before I get married in May. Because I'm not having like one big hen do, I'm kind of having little things throughout the month of April on the run up to the wedding, which will be really kind of special and nice. And Holly is one of those people who, even if we live in different cities, do completely different things, every time we see each other it's like we've just stepped out of history class. It really felt like we walked all across London, but this video definitely has some of my favourite spots in London, from Primrose Hill, which I keep calling Primrose Woods because I worked on a book called Starting Over at Primrose Woods and I keep getting mixed up, which I guess shows dedication to my job, but I kept looking for it on City Mapper and was getting very confused. So Camden, and then down to Marylebone, and then as always I ended up at Gower Street in Bloomsbury with our Waterstones because me and Gower Street are just meant to be. Before I leave you to enjoy my clips of London, I realised just really like Camden. I thought I would show you the books that I bought, and now I've realised that actually I bought three books, and two of those books were not brought with Holly's supervision, because in the most typical Claire fashion I said about how I wasn't going to buy as many books because I was getting ready to go back on my book buying ban, and then Holly left and then I bought two more, so she cannot be blamed, and I definitely have a problem. Before I talk about the three books that I bought in one day, I thought I would talk about the book very briefly that I'm currently reading, because I think that's like a healthy way to offset my book purchasing habits. So I'm about 10 chapters into Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens, and I have to say that I'm really enjoying this book so far. The writing is beautiful, it is so atmospheric, and this is actually a book I completely forgot to mention in the video I did about the most popular books I want to read, because this is one of them and it was gifted to me quite a while ago and I have no idea why I put off reading it, but I am really enjoying it. And again, I'm really focusing on just enjoyment with reading at the moment and just wanting books that I can read in bed and be transported to a different place, and this is exactly what this book is doing. With the sense of mystery and beautiful writing about nature, I'm loving it. The only thing I will say, literally just before this video, I looked up what other people had said about it, because obviously it's really well known and beloved by so many people, and discovered the controversial past of the author. And I was then like, do I talk about this book? And I wasn't really quite sure. I kind of felt a bit weird about it. So I would definitely recommend looking the past, the dodgy past of the author up, especially around issues around colonialism and colonial attitudes. But, and I hate to say but after that, it is a beautiful book. I'd definitely be interested in hearing any of your thoughts if you've read this book, because I think I am going to really enjoy it. So that's a very quick update, and now I'll get onto the books that I bought today. I think we have to start with this absolute beast of a novel, and it is The Books of Jacob, or The Books of Jacob by Olga Tokarczuk. This has been on my to buy list for a really long time, and it's now been shortlisted for the International ManBooker prize. And I've heard so many good things about this book, and when I first read the synopsis, the blurb, I just felt like this was a book that I would adore. It's historical fiction set in Poland and Ukraine, and documents such a long period of time and across different countries. And you know when you just read a blurb and you just know that it's like your perfect novel in one? That's really how I feel about The Books of Jacob. Kieran from KD Books has also raved about this book, and I really trust his opinion, and it is absolutely massive. I mean, I do have a history for really loving long books. I do feel like this is probably potentially one of the longest books I've read. It's definitely longer than The Luminaries. I've always wanted to buy and read The Books of Jacob because it's seen as kind of Tokarczuk's like magnum opus, and I've heard nothing but good things. But what really sold it to me in Waterstones and actually made me kind of pick it up, and I think the bookseller was slightly afraid when I came up and put it on the table, but what I really didn't know it kind of contained was so many pictures and maps. I think I'm just going to look at the pictures and make up my own story. But I like it when novels, especially historical novels, use different like source materials and use kind of maps and illustrations and paintings and really build the story around them as well, not just the written word. And I think it really adds to a retelling or an alternate retelling. I can't speak of history. If I can't speak, I'm not going to be able to read this book. In complete contrast to that tome of a historical novel, we have two books by Emily Henry. I picked up Emily Henry's two first published novels. I think that they're her first two published, Beach Read and You and Me on Vacation. And Beach Read and me go way back, because when I was still at HarperCollins, I remember us having a discussion about this book because of the title and saying how it was really SEO optimized, which is obviously the things you discuss when you work in commercial fiction. I remember reading the blurb a bit like the books of Jacob, but in a very different way, and thought, this is my dream romance. This is like the perfect book for me. Kind of two writers writing very different genres and swapping genres over the summer and writing each other's novels. And then falling in love in the process. Come on, I mean, the dream. When Beach Read first came out, it was obviously in every bookshop and I saw it all the time. Always wanted to read it, but it wasn't like the right time. But in the last few months or so, when I've been desperate to read Beach Read because I know I'm going to love it so much. Be disappointing if I don't, but I think I'm going to. But as I've been wanting to read it, I have found it in no bookshops. And I've been wandering around my local bookshops looking for it, and I know I could order it in, but there's something really special about just finding it or just seeing it on a shelf. And I always feel like whenever I pre-order anything and I get it ordered in, I kind of lose that magical moment. So I just wanted it to turn up eventually, and it did, but it turned up in a Works. Now, I don't know if they have Works in other countries. I'm sure they just have kind of equivalents, but I love the Works. I spent, oh my god, that made fucking shit myself. Don't know if you heard that, but the wind just moved the door and I thought I was going to die. When I was young, I bought so many books from the Works, and now I work in publishing, I've discovered my superpower. So I spend a lot of the time on Amazon, and I noticed that this book had changed price, and it changed to £5. And I had previously looked at it on Amazon, again, while I was kind of doing work. I'm always on Amazon at work, and it wasn't £5. I thought, there's something in the wind. £5 for me signals a Works price, and I saw the price change, and I kind of guessed, because my superpower is the fact that I can work out which books are going into the Works each month by their price changes on Amazon, which shows I might have a bit too much time on my hands. But I noticed there was a price change, and I had a suspicion that they were going into the Works, and I was right, which for me feels, I told everybody at work. I was genuinely so proud of myself, and I think they thought I was mad. But it was in the Works, and now I'm extremely happy. But what was also in the Works, how many times can I say work? Am I losing it in this video? Yes, I am. Am I still frightened by the door moving? 100%. What was also in the Works was her second novel, which is You and Me on Vacation. And I hadn't had the same feeling of really wanting to read. I'm sorry, I've got hair on my face, and I don't know if it's my hair or cat hair. Who knows? It could be either. It could be both. We could have been twined at this point, and probably half cat hair. I haven't had the same kind of strong feeling with You and Me on Vacation as I did with Beach Read. But again, I've heard lots of good things, but I was actually really persuaded to buy this when I saw it, because I recently watched, in fact, it wasn't recently, it was probably a really old video, a video by Read with Cindy, and she gave it 5 stars, which if you watch any of Read with Cindy's videos, you know that she doesn't give 5 stars that often, and I was really surprised that she gave it to a romance novel. And because of that, and the way she described how the narrative was set up, and also just how cleverly written the book was, I thought that it would definitely be worth me spending that £5. Both of these just feel like the perfect honeymoon read. I have to admit, I don't think the Books of Jacob gives off quite the same honeymoon vibe. I think it's quite intense doing this on your honeymoon versus a bit of romance, but we'll have to see. I just realised 2 things I forgot to mention about the Books of Jacob. The first thing is that it's translated by Jennifer Croft from Polish, always important to mention, but also Fitzcarraldo, the publisher, who I really love, and I really want to read more translated fiction, and they are the best of the best, and I love their kind of minimalism in their design, which I think are absolutely beautiful. What I also wanted to mention was that Fitzcarraldo was shortlisted alongside Boldwood Books, the publishing company that I work for, which is really cool because obviously we work on very different books to Fitzcarraldo, but I just love that we were there together as a regional finalist for London at the Bookseller Awards, the Nibbies, for Small Press of the Year, and unfortunately neither of us were, and obviously I would have preferred for Boldwood Books to win, I have to say, but it is just really cool, and I kind of just wanted to mention it because I'm really proud of Boldwood Books, and I have to bring everything in life back to them. I just found it really cool that even though the books are very different, they were still kind of like standing side by side. Anyway, those are all the books I bought on my outing, and after this very long ramble I will now leave you to enjoy the video because this was only supposed to be the introduction. So this is your cue to pause this video, go and get a cup of tea and come back and enjoy walking around London with me. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you are now with me at the end of the video, please leave a, let's do a classic book emoji. You can pick whichever book emoji you'd like, but I will be judging you by your choice. Thank you for sticking around and watching to the end. It really means a lot. If you'd like to help support my channel and my content, I have a Ko-fi account, which is an online tip jar where you can tip me, and any tips I receive I'm very, very grateful for. But for now, I will let you get back to your lives, and thank you so much for spending some time with me and for just sitting back, and I hope it was worth it, and I will see you again in another video.